Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to set up Reason to rewire inside of Ableton so that you get the power of both programs. It's a very cool combination and they work really well together. So first thing I'm going to do is come over to Reason and I'm going to create a couple instruments that I'm going to use inside of Ableton. So let's do the subtractor. And I'm just right clicking in Thor and Maelstrom. Doesn't really matter what I'm using because the technique can be used for everything. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want each of these instruments to have their own separate audio outputs. Otherwise everything's going to be coming through the main stereo output 1 and 2 and you won't be able to separate them in Ableton. So what you're going to want to do is flip it over by hitting your tab key. And as you can see, you got your lines from each of the instruments going into this mixer here. And this mixer is coming out of here and ending up finally in your hardware device, out 1 and 2. So what we want to do is we want to change that so that everything has its own separate spot. So the first thing I'm going to do here is, as you can see, it's coming out of the main output here. So I want to switch this and drag it over to 3. And we'll just let 4 go because it's a mono signal. And then for the Thor instrument, you can see this here. We'll drop this on 5 and 6. And we'll drop the Maelstrom on 7 and 8. And that's it. So every instrument you have, whether it be mono or stereo, you'll just want to create a different output for each one. Great. And then you can flip that back over if you want. And you can set your settings or whatever. I'm just going to use the presets that are set up right now just for this example. So the next thing that you'll want to do, and by the way, when you're starting up Reason, you're going to want to first start Ableton and then start Reason up afterwards, and then it will allow for the rewire to happen. So next we'll jump into Ableton here, and I've got a drum beat here. Cool. And I want to play some Reason parts along with this. So what I want to do is create 2 MIDI tracks, actually 3 MIDI tracks. And in order to do this, I just hold Command Shift and T for MIDI, Command T for audio. So now that we got our 3 tracks, we're going to want to drop in an external instrument onto each one of these tracks. Cool. So now what we've got here is we've got the MIDI 2. So this is going to send it to Reason. So in this menu, as we come down, you'll see that we find Reason right here. And then underneath Reason, we are able to choose what instrument we want. So I'm going to choose the subtractor instrument here. And then I'm going to arm this track so I could actually hear it. So what we want to do is we want to find the track that subtractor is on. So now I could choose 3 and 4, but that's a stereo track and that's just going to end up putting subtractor on the left speaker. So instead I'm going to choose the mono signal. We popped it right into channel 3, so I'll choose it right here. And now when I play, you'll hear the sound. Cool. And then we'll go ahead and choose Reason here. And we'll grab the Thor instrument. And as I recall, we set that to 5 and 6. And then I'll just test it here. Cool. And then on this one, we'll select Reason and the Maelstrom. Audio from 7 and 8. Great, so now that we've got our sounds, we can record our parts right into Ableton. So I'm going to go ahead and arm this track here. All right, and I'm just going to make some basic thing up here. We'll just make this 2 bars even. All right, it's not perfect, but it's fine. And then we'll come here. All right, so I'll just record that part. And it looks like we got it right where we want it, so now these 2 parts will play together. And now let's see what's on this track here. And we'll just make that 4 bars there. And there we go. We've got our audio track inside of Ableton, and we've got 3 Reason instruments all playing. Now, of course, I could go in here and I could change the presets and tweak the sounds however I'd like. There's really no limit with that. And what's also cool is I can add Ableton's effects to any of the sounds. So let's say we want to add some delay to this part right here. It's just as simple as going into our audio effects, pulling in a simple delay, and let's pull in a little bit of reverb. So now what I would suggest that you do is, after you tweak your sounds, I would record these to audio as quickly as possible. That way you don't have to save all your settings in Reason and then save all your settings in Ableton in order to reopen the part. And in order to do that, you just create a audio track here and select audio from, grab one of your tracks here, and we'll set the monitor to off and record. And now this track right here will record right into here. And if I solo this part here, we now got an audio version. So there you go. That is Reason inside of Ableton.